At 2 a.m. I found my wife and her friends laughing around a fire pit burning my late mother's letters. She was just a bitter old hag, one of them snorted. My wife added, "He cries over that trash." I didn't say a word. Just watched the ashes drift. 2 months later, she was on her knees in that same spot, screaming into the dirt, "Please come back." They used the wine box as kindling. I recognized the burgundy lid. My mother saved it from her anniversary trip to Paris, her and my dad's last real vacation before the cancer started digging its claws in. She stored her letters in it, decades of them, tied with mint ribbon, the kind you can only find in those dusty antique shops that smell like grief. They fed the box to the flames like it was junk mail. I didn't confront them. I didn't scream. I just stood in the dark, barefoot on the porch as my wife, Marla, and her yoga-brained clique laughed about how toxic energy clings to old paper. "She was just a bitter old hag," one of them said, flicking ash off her faux silk robe. "No wonder she got sick." They all laughed. Then Marla, my wife of 6 years, the woman who held my hand at the hospice bedside, smirked and added, "He cries over that trash. He actually saves it. Like she's gonna write back." That's when I realized something fundamental. I wasn't married to a person. I was married to a performance. And I'd already missed the intermission. I watched the ribbons curl in the fire. Didn't move. Didn't breathe. The part of me that was still someone's son died in that moment. The part that still believed in forgiveness. I went back inside. Made tea. Didn't sleep. 2 months later, she was screaming into that same fire pit, on her knees, in a bathrobe soaked with dirt and mascara and something darker I hadn't seen in her before. She kept clawing the soil like she thought it would give her a different ending. You want to know how we got there? You really want the details? Fine. Let's rewind. Let's start with her brother. The one I caught rifling through my desk drawer. At 3:17 a.m., he said he was looking for a charger. Right? My will was in that drawer. And so were the copies of my mom's final letters, the ones Marla hadn't found. The ones I'd made backups of. Digital scans. Offsite storage. I never told Marla about the safe deposit box. Guess why? Because 3 months after my mom died, I started noticing small things going missing. Jewelry I inherited. The porcelain cat figurine Mom kept on her kitchen windowsill. Gone. Marla blamed the movers. Or said maybe my mom never had those things to begin with. "Grief makes us imagine stuff," she whispered, stroking my hair. She kissed me like I was a child. Like she was the last soft place in a hard world. I wanted to believe her. Then I found the bracelet on her sister's Instagram. Worn. Tagged. Captioned, "Thanks to my sis for the gift. To Art's Love Vintage." That bracelet had my mother's initials on it. Etched inside the clasp. I didn't say anything. Not yet. Instead, I tested her. I planted a fake letter, typed up with AI, printed on old yellowed paper, sprayed it with Mom's perfume, folded it neatly and left it accidentally in the drawer she always forgot was mine. 3 days later? Gone. 5 days after that? One of her friends posted a quote from it on Facebook. "It takes real strength to release the past. Bitterness is the mind's tumor." She wrote, "Shout out to the beautiful soul who showed me this. We're doing shadow work next week, Fire Sparkles." Guess what that letter said? Not that. It said, "The people who hurt you the most will wear your pain like a costume, then charge you admission to watch them dance in it." My mom wrote that. For Marla. Because she never liked her. The wedding toast she gave was 3 minutes long and ended with, "I hope he finds peace even if he has to lose you to get there." Now it was time for me to find it too. So I waited. Waited until the night her brother came back. Slipped into my study again. This time I was ready. I'd changed the documents. All the files. Let's just say the will he stole wasn't mine. It was one I wrote. And it named him as the primary executor of a crime. A big one. The kind that gets you audited. The kind that gets your crypto fraud operation uncovered in 3 states. I made sure the right person got that file. Anonymously. Next morning? His car was gone. So was Marla's phone. So was her password-protected journal I cracked 2 months prior. You think her burning my mother's letters was the cruelest thing? Nah. That journal? That's where she wrote about me. How she faked every cry. How she saved my mom's voicemails just to laugh at them when she was drunk. How she only stayed with me because of the money. How she planned to get pregnant on the sly and trap me forever. That's when I knew what I had to do. I didn't confront her. I didn't scream. I copied the journal. Backed it up 6 ways. Sent it to a lawyer. Filed for divorce under emotional fraud and asset misappropriation. She got served at her wellness retreat. The same day the IRS froze her brother's accounts. The same day her friends got cease and desist letters for posting doctored photos using my mother's likeness for their trauma-cleansing brand. The same day I went back to the fire pit, placed my mother's real letters in a flameproof tin, and buried them 10 feet below where Marla burned the rest. 2 weeks later, Marla was gone. Evicted. Disgraced. A few friends left. A few still believed her. Until the pregnancy lie came out. Not mine. Not even real. She staged the test. Fabricated the due date. Tried to blackmail me into reconciliation. Didn't work. That's when she snapped. That's when she came back. That's when I watched her 2 a.m. in the robe I bought her, on her knees by that fire pit, wailing into the ash and mud like she could claw her way back into a version of me that still cared. I didn't call the cops. Didn't film it. Didn't even speak. Just watched. And when she finally looked up, she saw nothing in my eyes. Just reflection. Just goodbye. Update 1. The reason she burned my mother's letters. I didn't expect the voicemail. It came a week after the Firepit incident. Blocked number. For seconds of static. Then her voice raw, shaking. You don't know what she did to me. Click. That was it. Just enough poison to keep me curious. Just enough to pull me back toward the edge. But here's the thing. I didn't know what my mother did to her. She told me. Once. But not the way she wanted me to hear it. Let's rewind to 2018. We'd been dating for 9 months. My mother was 2 years into chemo, already shrinking into hospital beds and memory lapses. One afternoon I brought Marla to the house for tea. My mother asked for it specifically. Said she wanted to look her in the eyes. Marla was quiet on the drive over. Quiet when we pulled up. Not nervous, numb. I didn't get it. Not then. The visit lasted 23 minutes. No hugs. No stories. Just 2 women staring through each other across bone china and polite questions. Afterward, Mom hugged me at the door and whispered, she smells like hidden rot. Marla didn't speak for the rest of the day. Just stared out the window, biting the inside of her cheek. Later that week, she told me she'd had a nightmare. Said my mom's voice had crawled into her sleep and started laughing. Said she woke up with blood on her tongue from biting it in the dream. That's when the cracks started. The accidental drops of my mom's dishes. The jokes about how hospice was just adult timeout for bad parents. But I ignored them. Thought it was just stress. Thought she was processing things her own way. 2 months after my mom died, I found the real reason. It was in my inbox. A PDF. My mother's lawyer had instructions to email it to me only after the funeral. It was a scanned letter. 2 pages. Typewritten. Unsigned. No greeting. Just a header, for the day he finds the pit in her soul. She knew. She knew about Marla. Knew she'd find a way in. Turns out Marla had dated my cousin in college. Briefly. Until she hacked his email, stole his financial aid disbursement, and vanished. She used a different name back then. A different face, too. My mom had tracked it all. She thinks people are puzzles. Breakable, collectible, the letter said. I saw the smile she gave you at the funeral. That wasn't grief. That was calculation. That was her audition. It wasn't paranoia. It was prophecy. Because 2 years before she died, my mother had already predicted the game. She even warned Marla. That day at tea, while I was upstairs finding old photos, my mom slid a manila envelope across the table. Inside, printouts, old police report, emails, a restraining order filed and dropped by a girl named Lydia at Marla's old college. Nothing criminal. Nothing stuck. But the warning was clear. If you hurt him, my mother had whispered, I'll haunt you. Marla laughed. Told me about it months later. Said my mom was playing witch. But now? Now I understand. She didn't burn those letters because she hated my mother. She burned them because they talked back. Because every time I read one, I pulled a little further out of her web. Because in the end, Marla wasn't jealous of my mother. She was afraid of her. Afraid of the part of me that still listened to that voice. That truth. That spine. So she lit a match. Tried to erase the last piece of someone she couldn't beat. But here's the part she didn't know. Before the letters burned, I'd already started compiling everything. Her aliases. The fake therapy license she used in a coaching circle in 2016. The bankruptcy trail she buried in Ohio. The boyfriend she left in rehab after stealing his checkbook. I wasn't planning revenge yet. I was planning survival. Because people like Marla? They don't just leave. They wait. They slither back when the new prey smells too suspicious. When the lies dry up. When the mirror gets too quiet. So I made sure she couldn't return. I filed reports. Quiet ones. To 3 separate states. Flagged her name with 2 wellness networks. Used the journal she left behind as evidence of fraud. Not for court. For closure. And the best part? One of her friends, the loudest one at the Firepit, messaged me yesterday. Said Marla was spiraling. Said she'd lost her spot in 2 social circles. One retreat dropped her. Another revoked her healing license. And now? Now she's writing her own letters. To me. Begging for forgiveness. Begging to explain. Begging to come back. But the Firepit is cold. And I am not her ashtray. Edit 1, for those asking. Yes, I have a copy of the letter my mom wrote about Marla. It's stored, encrypted, duplicated. Some ghosts deserve to be archived. Edit 2, I'm not done yet. There's one more person she never wanted me to find. But I did. And he's about to burn brighter than anything she thought she buried. Update 2, the man she said was dead wasn't. His name wasn't listed on any of the social media profiles she used. Not even the burner ones. But his initials were tattooed under her ribcage, faded, curled like a dead spider. She told me once, casually while brushing her teeth, that it was for her brother who died when she was a teenager. He drowned, she said. A family camping trip. Nobody talks about it. It was one of the few times I ever saw her eyes go glassy. But that wasn't what happened. Because that man wasn't dead. And he wasn't her brother. His name was Jordan Meeks. And 2 weeks ago, I found him living under a different last name in Nevada, running a used car lot on the outskirts of Reno. You know what he said when I showed up? I was wondering how long it'd take for one of you to find me. Let's rewind. Right after Marla's breakdown by the fire pit, I started digging again. This time, not into her lies, but into her origin. Her real one. Turns out Marla was her fourth legal name change. She'd bounced between identities like dirty laundry in a motel dryer. One linked to a missing person report in 2010. Another to a financial scam that drained a small-town church's renovation fund. But the deepest cut was her first identity. The one tied to Jordan. I only found it because of a receipt. Buried in her old email in a forgotten folder labeled recipes. It was a bus ticket. Dated 2009. From Santa Clara to Reno. Paid for by him. Same name as the tattoo. Same birthday. Same address. When I reached out using an old email she'd once registered with, I didn't expect a reply. But Jordan wrote back in 2 hours. Is she alive? Was all he said. I booked a flight. Met him outside a rust-colored lot full of sun-faded sedans and half-buried regrets. He looked tired. Older than his photos. But the same eyes. I knew she'd send someone, he said. Didn't expect you to look like him. I asked what he meant. He didn't answer. Just handed me a photo. Black and white. Old. 2 kids barely 10 standing in front of a broken-down RV. She told you I drowned? He said. I nodded. Jordan laughed. Close. She tried to drown me. In a lake upstate. Held my head under while our foster mom smoked on the dock. I didn't speak. Couldn't. She said it was a game, he added. Said I needed to see what death looked like. Said we were born in fire, so water couldn't hurt us. He lifted his shirt. Showed me the scar on his ribs. She did this too. Scissors. Because I looked too much like him. Who? He lit a cigarette. Her father. It all started falling into place. Marla's obsession with controlling narratives. Her panic when I grew my beard out said it made me look too familiar. Her flinches during thunderstorms. Her compulsion to burn anything that carried emotional weight. She wasn't just hiding from someone. She was hiding as someone. And every time I tried to pull her closer, she twisted tighter. I asked Jordan why he never came forward. He looked at me like I was a child. You think the system gives a damn about a foster reject and a girl who spins prettier lies than daylight? She told him I ran away. Said I was violent. Said I touched her. He looked down. I almost believed her myself. When I got back home, I found her on my porch. Shoeless. Shaking. Face pale. I remember you now, she whispered. I don't think you do, I said. She reached for my hand. I stepped back. That's when she dropped the box. A small wooden cube hand-carved. One I didn't recognize. Inside? A tooth. And a note written in jagged, childlike scrawl. He was supposed to stay down. I looked up. She was smiling. Empty. Hollow. Like someone watching a house collapse from inside. You brought him back, she said. You burned the wrong ghosts, I replied. She laughed once. Then walked away. Just like that. Haven't seen her since. But that's not the end. Not even close. Because the box she left had more than a tooth. It had a key to a storage unit, rented under my name. And inside that unit, I found something that made my spine crack. Not bones. Not bodies. Worse. Pictures. Dozens. Of me. Sleeping. Eating. Crying after my mom's funeral. All time-stamped. All printed. Some dated before I ever knew her. Edit 1. I don't sleep much anymore. Edit 2. I showed the photos to Jordan. He went quiet. Said she used to keep scrapbooks. Said they weren't memories. They were trophies. Edit 3. I'm not sure how long she's been watching me. But I know this. She didn't fall in love with me. She selected me. And whatever she's planning now. It didn't end at the fire pit. Update 3. The last thing she left me. It came wrapped in brown paper, bound with twine like some cursed gift from a dead era. No return address. No postage. Just a blank envelope with my name, all caps, carved in frantic pen strokes like she stabbed the letters instead of writing them. Inside? A Polaroid. One I didn't recognize. One no one could have taken unless they were somewhere they never should have been. It was my mother. Not before she died. After. She was in her casket. Dressed in the same floral blouse we buried her in, her hands still folded the way I remember placing them, one over the other. But someone had tampered with the body. They'd opened her mouth and slid a matchstick between her teeth. Just one. Bright red tip. Pointed outward. Like a fuse. No note. No caption. Just that image. Like a message only I could translate. And I did. I knew exactly what it meant. I rushed to check the box Marla had left in my closet, the carved wooden one from before. I hadn't opened it since the photos. I couldn't. But now? Now I had to. I dumped it out on the floor. The tooth was still there. But now? There were 2 more. I don't know how she got back in. I don't know when. But she had. That night, I combed through every camera I owned, doorbell cam, hallway sensor, even the dusty old nanny cam I forgot was still plugged in the living room lamp. Everything went dark between 2:01 and 2:04 a.m. Not static. Not a power outage. Just black. Like something turned off the memory of the house itself. Jordan doesn't respond to my messages anymore. He moved. Again. Won't say where. But before he vanished, he left me one final voicemail. She told me once, his voice said, low and shaky, that souls don't rot in the ground. They rot in the people left behind. Click. I filled the fire pit with cement. Layered it in salt. buried the last of her belongings under 6 inches of gravel. I thought that would help, but sometimes, at 2:03 exactly, my lights flicker. My phone buzzes once, and I swear I smell her perfume, rosewater and burnt mint. Just for a second. Like she's walking past me. Watching. Waiting. The last time I opened my fridge, I found a single cherry tomato on the top shelf. My mother hated tomatoes. Marla knew that. She once joked that she'd slip one into her coffin just to see if the dead could gag. I never laughed. Now I keep finding them. In drawers. Under my pillow. In the mailbox. Like breadcrumbs. Like warnings. Or maybe. Like invitations. So this is it. If anything else happens, if I disappear, if my name shows up on some burned postcard, know this. She didn't just burn my mother's letters. She replaced them.